Hello, everyone, and as always, welcome back to Strategy Gaming Dojo, where we find, learn, and play one more turn of the great strategy games. And today we're going to jump back into our sneak peek at Distant Worlds 2. And I'm loving this game so far. I was a huge fan of the first game, and we're kind of slowly going through here, learning the systems, checking out, how this game works. I'm trying to play a little bit of the game, and as things come up, try to explain those different concepts, and we will continue to do that and get in depth on each different thing as we encounter it. Now, this is episode number 4, and we're hovering over our home system. This is the Marilia system. You can see here, that's the star Marilia. It's a blue giant star. This is our home moon out here, actually. We're on a home moon that revolves around a planet. Um, and as you can see in these icons here, this is our capital. We've got happy people. We've got construction yards here. You can refuel here. And then it shows you all the various resources and then the defense level on our moon, which is a 94 because you do have ground troops here and then, of course, space fleets. And so we'll get more and more into that as we go along. Then you can look at the other, whether they be planets, moons, asteroids that are out here in our system. You can see them out here, and you see the primary resources that are on these celestial bodies, whatever they may be. And you can see the Solitary Scout, which is one of our scout ships, is actually out here surveying in this area. But you see below that, Marilia 8 is the name of this ice tundra planet, and you see the green check mark, and that means we've fully, what they call fully explored Marilia 8. And it has a 26% suitability for colonization, and then you can see the resources and their abundance underneath that. Now, the reason I'm looking at this is that green check mark. The way this works is as you explore something, you uncover it more and more, and you get to new levels of exploration. We're at a 15 here. Now that it could be that we could go higher and we still don't find anything else, but as you get higher and higher levels, you uncover more and more things. Now we're in the early going here, and we also have very early design ships, and because of that, they're not going to uncover everything necessarily because their sensors aren't as good, et cetera, et cetera. And as we get better sensors and research those and get better exploration craft, it's very possible that we could uncover something we haven't uncovered before. One thing I wanted to show you before we get going is just looking at this as things occur to me, I want to point them out to you because maybe you had the same thought. And that is, I just, looking at these badges, I thought, well, that's not quite as sharp or Excel workbook looking as I maybe think the first game was. Well, I went to settings, and when you go here, you click off general, you go down to display, you can change the interface size down to, let's say, small. And then if we apply that, you see it gets a little smaller, a little sharper. If that's something that you want to do, you go, there's an extra small as well. You go down that far, and maybe it might be hard to see, but you may want to do that if you've just got so many things on the map that you want to make these smaller. But for now, I'm going to keep them at the default. I also wanted to point out that, so let's go back to standard. The color scheme. The color scheme was kind of a goldish. They call it eclipse color. You can change the color scheme. In this case, I'm going to change it to aquamarine. You apply that, and now everything's in aquamarine. If you prefer that, if that was your big objection, you can certainly change it if you want to. So let's get out of that. Now, for anyone that's watched my tutorials or my Let's Play tutorials before, you know that I like to correct things right up front. You may find this shocking, but from time to time I get something wrong or I don't understand something. And one of the great things about having this channel is we have a great community, and people will point things out or say, I don't think that was right, or how does this work, etc. And so I like to do those right up front. Now, one of the things that came up before was I had mistakenly said, okay, so let's back up for a second. Here's our home moon. This is the planet Marilia 5 that our moon orbits, and it also has another moon, Urteat. Good old Urteat. And you can see it's fully explored, a 16 there. It's a carbonaceous moon. Well, I had mistakenly said that this research center out here, I was like, oh, we must have gotten that for free. Now, in this game so far, because we're first starting out, I've got many, many things on automated, right? And so I would say 90% of the game is automated at this point. As we go on, I'm going to start to turn more and more things to manual and start really deep diving in how they work. But for now, at the start, you want to have a lot of things on automated. It'll help teach you the game and understand why things happen or why they should happen in the order they do. So we've got this research center out here. And in my mind, I thought, well, how is that possible? Because we have not research labs yet. And so up here, if we click on the research tab, you can see queued up in our projects. We've got armor plating, and then we've got research labs. And so I thought, well, we've got to research that before we can build one. Au contraire, that is not correct, and that's because this caused the confusion in my mind anyway. In research here, you can see in the research tab, basic space research. We started with this, right? So they give you a few, the very basic things, basic crew systems, basic docking bay, just all the basic stuff for the most part you are given right at the start. Um, and so basic space research does allow you to build a basic research lab, but because it didn't have a lab in the title here, I didn't realize that. So if you look at this, it's completed. Okay, it's a size 60, so on and so forth. The important part down here is research output is 12. Okay, and everything's kind of based on a monthly system here. So we'll get a research output of 12 per month. Well, if you look at research labs, this one, no longer basic. These are real research labs. And you look down at research output, it's now 16 once we complete this research item. So it gives you a little bit of an idea of the improvements, so that'll give us an extra 4 research points every single month. So I did want to point that out. Now, of course, on the research tab, there's a lot deeper we can go into this, and we will as we play along here. I don't want to, linger on any one thing too long, but of course, research points are incredibly important. We can't see what comes after that. That's just how we're playing the game. We can't see the whole tree, which adds a little bit of spice to it, right? So let's get out of research. So that had come up, and because we're automated, the game decided to build one of those. Another thing I wanted to point out is just about this kind of just occurred to me. If we go out here kind of to the solar system view again, is I wanted to know, where's a full listing of all of my ships? I want to see all of my ships. Well, from what I can tell so far, there's not like one ledger you can go to that shows every ship you have in the game, except instead they're divided up by ship type. But before we get to exactly how that works, let's look at the solar system view here. I really like this. Okay, so here's our home moon, and you can see we can hover over it and it will draw this white line that goes directly to it. And then if we double click it, it takes us right there. If we single click, it doesn't come in quite as far close or quite as zoomed in. Let's just single click it one time and see if that's true. No, I guess there is no intermediate view. You come right into it. So if you want to see anything in your solar system, or once we get out to other systems, you've got this really handy guide of Marilia, Marilia 1. There's a moon around that, Marilia 2, Marilia 3. You get the idea. So you can come and see any celestial body down here that's in your system. The other cool thing here is the 3 different ship. Well, I don't want to say it that way. The 3 different categories of ships that you would have in a system. All right. And you can go and look at any of these. You see the stop sign here. These are static ships. All right, so these are ships that you build them and they stay where they are or at that current planet or moon. And if we look, ancient Actarian spaceport, all right, that spaceport's not going anywhere. It hovers around our moon at all times. The Marilia 5 mining stations are built at a specific location and they don't move. And so the stop sign, you get it. The research center that we just talked about, and then there's one more, and that is the Urteat mining station. And if we double click on that, you can see it is currently being built. And so that is the Urteat mining station that's out here around the moon Urteat. Okay, so those are the stops. Then the triangles, and this also corresponds, and let's get down here. This also corresponds with the icon around them, right? So you see the triangles, those are military ships. And so we've got the Sly Verdict, we've got the Mighty Triumph, we've got the Growling Backstab, great name, Angry Stalker, and the Intrepid Spite. Wow, I like whoever names our military ships, thumbs up. Okay, so we've got these 5 military ships, and those are triangles on the map and down here. Okay, and then finally, you have ships that can move about or do move about. And we've got 10 of those. Actually, we've got 14, and that's what I wanted to show you. As we get in here in this view, so this is telling you what is in your current view. In this case, it's Marilia 5. We can just barely see it up there. Urteat, which is, I mean, it's a moon around this, so it is telling us that's in view. And our home moon here. But this went down to 10, right? Because we can only see 10 ships in this view. If we back up, now we can see 14. And then if we go all the way here to what is kind of the more the sector view, it doesn't have any of the ships up. It would just be too many once you get to a certain size. Right? Okay. So the ships that can move, what are those? What do we have here? The Surly Miner, that's a mining ship. We have a small freighter, small freighter. These are all civilian ships that we don't really directly control. The Surly Scout, I hate when they name them this way. I'm going to have a talk with them about this. This is a mining ship. I don't want it called a Scout. So we already have a Surly Miner. Let's make this the Surly Miner too. Okay, and back we go. The Marilia Quest, the Majestic Prowler, and then we get to a construction ship, the Distant Whim, and then we've got other small freighters. We also have our exploration ships that you can see in this view, and then a mining ship, the Rye Spirit. Okay, so if you ever are looking for your ships just in a visual sense, you can do it here. But how do you do it if you just want a listing of them all? Well, we've talked a little bit about these buttons up here. This is essentially your empire button, I'll call it, where the Act Supremacy, you can see the colony approval, etc., etc. Then we get to diplomacy. We have not encountered anyone else. Not really. We found a ship down here, but we haven't encountered other peoples of any type. And so there's nothing under diplomacy. I mean, we could click on this, but we haven't found pirates. We haven't found independent colonies or ambassadors or spies or prisoners, right? Over here, we could talk, and we will talk more about the economics of the game. This is mainly all your colony stuff, the colony economics, and then what I think is the most important button in the game, the policy settings, where you can automate or flip to manual control anything here in the game, plus other controls, right? And so this game is very heavy on allowing you to either automate or manually control things. This is where you do it from. But then diplomacy, characters, right? And we do have some characters. We've got a leader, a general, and a scientist. That scientist is actually already out at our research center. Now we've got her, Rocky Thonda. I've made up the fact that she's our leader's wife. Sure, maybe it's a sister. I don't know. But anyway, she's on automated. She moved out to that research center on her own. But we are going to move some things manually this time as well to show you how to do that. We have no spies or prisoners yet. Then we get to the colonies. Well, we've only got this one, Omsasia, and this just kind of gives you grand overview information. New colonies that you've got that you now, why is this helpful? Well, you may want to go set them up the way that you want them set up. Colony ships, we don't have any of those. We only have the one planetary facility, and this was the one that was given to us, right? This ancient Actarian undersea city ruins. So we really haven't dealt with that yet, and various artifacts. Okay, so these 3 buttons we haven't interacted with that much, but let's get to the point I was trying to make, which is exploration. Now, these last 5 here are your really interactive buttons. These are the places where you go, make decisions, figuring out what's going on in different kind of broad categorizations of the game. So exploration, well, that's a big one. Resources, just think of this as mining, resources in general, building or construction, research, military, and then finally civilian. And this one, you're not going to use as much. So it's really these five is the ones, the buttons you're going to be interacting with the most. Exploration is something we've already started, and this is what I was talking about. Where are my ships? Well, this lists your exploration ships. So you can see all three of them here: the Scoundrel, the Scout, the Weary Sun, and you can see exactly where they are and what they're doing. So they're all surveying. That's what we want. And over here, you can actually change the mode they're in. So right now we have them on auto explore. If we wanted to change them to auto scout, auto spy, fully automate, manually control, etc., we can do that from this screen as well. So exploration is something we've been doing a lot of. Known ruins, those same Actarian undersea ruins, abandoned ships and bases. Now we found that Crimson Scourge, right? And we don't know much about it. We may want to have it explored more. This over here is allowing us to repair and investigate this if we wish. Let's do that. All right. And now it comes up crossing. You can cancel that. That's what that means. But now the game has gotten an order. We're going to send something out here to the Crimson Scourge and see what it's all about. Yeah, okay. I saw that red and I thought, wait a minute, is that the Crimson Scourge? Surely not. The Crimson Scourge is right down in here at the Bandit's Cave. And so we're going to go out and see what that's all about. So we've given it that order. And then special locations. There's a Marilia 3 debris field. And you can see when we hover over it, look out on the map, you can see, a circle going out from it, so we kind of know, what the heck they're talking about. Oh, that's where the Crimson Scourge is. This is Bandits Cove. Okay, so we figure bandits are there. That's the red lightning. This, in this debris field, is where the Crimson Scourge is, and we actually have the Weary Sun out here by it. So anyway, it will further look at that, and then we may. Oh, it's right next to it. It's so dark, it's hard to see. The Crimson Scourge is right here. Supposedly, that has advanced tech on it. I guess we're going to find out. But that's exploration. So you can always go here and say, gosh, I don't even remember how many exploration ships I have. Where are they? What are they doing? You can go here. You can also look at ones that are unfriendly territory, any that are idle. That could be very helpful. Obviously, you don't want anything just sitting around unless it has to. Then we would go over to the resources tab here. I always think of this as mining. We should just call it mining. But here you can see all the different resources, and you can see if we have a shortage. You can also sort these any different way that you want. The default is to show you anything where you have a production shortage. Well, some of these things we haven't even discovered yet, right? So we're certainly, or we know they exist, but we haven't found them anywhere. You can also see, you can sort them by fuel and construction resources in use. So the ones we're using the most, the ones that have the most, take the most, or different fuel types. Caslon is the universal fuel. If we don't have this, we will be buying it. And so you don't want that, certainly. Then you can see our different mining stations. So if you ever want to see where your mining stations are, you come to the resources tab and say, we have one at Urteat, we have one at Marilia 5, and it will show you the major um, resources there, and also in this red box means that we have a shortage. Okay, so you can very quickly see, are we picking up things we're short on? New mining locations. Okay, I mean, this includes mining ships. So if you want to see everywhere that you're mining, you could do it here. These are civilian ships that are out here. And if you click on this, oh, I'm sorry, wrong, wrong, wrong. This are places that we've discovered resources. Here we have a construction ship there, we have a construction ship here. What we're saying here is if you click this button, we automatically it'll get the order to build a mining station here. All right, so we don't have one already. These two places, we've already sent construction ships out to build the mining station. Here we have not, and it's giving us the option to do so, right? Well, we've only got 2 construction ships, so we don't want to do that and take them off their current task. Mining ships, now these are civilian ships, and they're out doing mining at various places. And you can see Mine Marilia 5, offload, and this says the ancient Actarian Spaceport. That's where they're going to bring their load. Now, some of these have the warp drive on them, some of them don't. The game will prioritize, of course, giving our capital ships warp drives. If these mining ships are going out someplace close, and let's just go back to our home world here really quickly. If, for instance, mining ships that are going here, the game might not put a warp drive on there. Now you can decide to do that if you want. I'm just saying if it's automated, the game may not decide to do that because it's not that far, and it may prioritize putting warp drives on other things. Okay? All right. We'll get into some of this other stuff. I want to let the game run a little bit. Let's take this off the settings. We talked about the research lab. We talked about the different views. Oh, one other thing before I hit play, and that is so we have started to build these military ships. Now, our advisors did not tell us to do that yet. Why am I doing it? Well, because like every other good space exploration game, there are pirates about. We know that there's that bandit's cave down there, so they're going to show up eventually. Now, the problem is really no matter what we build, they're going to overpower us at first, and we're going to have the choice to either pay them off to make them go away or take some damage. Well, I'd at least like to have the option of fighting them off if they're not too overly powerful. But the thing I wanted to show you is if we go to the military here, you can see our military ships, and these are escorts. And if you think about it, these escorts are not going to be powerful at all, especially at the start of the game. We've got them all on automated, okay, right there. I like how they do this where you can just click it over to what, if you wanted to do something else different with it. But we've only got one of them built. When they're in red like this, it means they are yet to be built. They're just, they're planned and they're out here. Their husk is out here, right? And here's one of them. You can see the mighty triumph is just it's a plan and in a builder's dream there. It has not been built yet. I like that graphic where you can see that it hasn't been built yet. But here's the sly verdict. It has been built. And if we go to the sly verdict, so we've clicked on that, and if we come down here, it doesn't really have any fuel, reactors offline. It says it's still under construction. Oh, it's not quite done. Okay, it's showing that it is because it's so close, I think, but it's not quite done. But what I wanted to show you is the different options you have for the ship. You can refuel and repair. Well, it's disabled because this ship isn't even built yet. Then retrofit, and another thing I like here is it shows you it's disabled because it's already using the latest design. So you can go to any ship in the game and figure out if it's got the latest design. And they actually have to go back to a spaceport and get the latest stuff, whatever it may be, and you have to pay for that. And so there may be some ships out there that you think, you know what, it's good enough. It's good enough. I'm not gonna upgrade it, right? And so that's what this button is. Stop whatever it's doing. Join the sly verdict to a fleet. Well, we have no fleets, right? But right here, create a new fleet. So on any ship, you can create a new fleet and batch other ships together with it. And so let's click on that. Okay, and now on the ship, let's see here, manually controlled. You see here the first fleet. It's in the first fleet. This actually now shows it as red, that it hasn't been built yet. It's still under construction at 83%, but this has now been batched into this fleet, okay? And so let's go to these other ones. How about the Mighty Triumph? Now, if we go down here, you can see join the ship Mighty Triumph to a fleet. Now, we only have one fleet right now, so it's automatically going to put it in the first fleet. If we had multiple fleets, it would ask us which one we wanted to join. But let's make sure all of our military ships all go into a fleet the minute they're built. And you can see they start listing off first fleet, okay. And the intrepid spite, let's put that in first fleet as well. So they will batch together and all take the same orders as a fleet. It's almost like war in the Pacific, right? And you can think of these escorts almost like little destroyers out in the Pacific. So we've got this in first fleet. Now, eventually we will get admirals, and when we do, we can put them in command of certain fleets based on their characteristics and traits. Maybe one guy's really good at attacking, and we'll put him on with our attacking type ships. Another guy good at defense, and we'll put him with our guys that are defending the home system or something. You get the idea. Anyway, the basic idea is you can batch these into fleets. Okay, now then, let's go up here and go to fleets. I think this is fleets. No, yeah, I bet you it is. Yeah, fleet templates. Okay. We can build a template of the kind of fleets we like, and you can see the kind of different functions that a fleet can, or different settings that you can put them on. Attack, defend, invade, raid. Okay. And this game already has some templates set up, but we can change these. If we want to change the attack fleet, maybe we have a certain complement of ships that we like in an attack fleet, we can do that. You can load fleet templates. This game is very big on templates, whether it be at the individual ship level, you have a template for each different kind of ship, or at the fleet level here, you have different templates for your fleets. Well, we're not nearly that far advanced yet. But the reason I wanted to show you that first is because if we go here to fleets and we go to first fleet and select it, let's look down here. You can see it's going to be made up of these 5 ships. This one almost ready, the Sly Verdict, and the 4 yet to be constructed. As we go here, you can tell it as a fleet to retrofit. You can tell it to disband if you wanted to. You can top up the fleet with ships, and so it will look at the template that you have based on the stance that you have this fleet in, and it will build it up for you, okay? You can also see the Army template, which is different. That's ground troops. Fleet template, right here, we're calling it an attack fleet as of right now. Then you can see the fleet role, manual, and the tactics, okay? So fleet role, manual, you tell it what to do, attack, raid, defend, or invade. Well, we're going to defend. So I'm going to put that on defend, and you see defense fleet. Let's turn the template over into a defense fleet because these guys are going to be defending right now. All right. So you give it this big overall command, and it will do what you want it to do based on your tactics. And if we click here, engagement range. 50% of fuel range. Now, of course, that makes sense, right? Because you don't want it going out further than it can go and not be able to get back. And so 50% of your fuel range, that's probably a little far. I don't want this thing to get stuck out in space. Although I will tell you, they won't get permanently stuck. Everything has what they call an emergency fuel reserve. And so even if you run out of fuel somewhere, you will move back to the closest spaceport at 1/3 of your speed. And so you can't just be dead in the water, to borrow a naval phrase. It will still move just at 1/3 of the speed. So we'll keep this at 50%. Attack stance, neutral. Evade, cautious, aggressive. I want these guys to be cautious. It's our first fleet. I don't want them just to immediately get destroyed. Pretty much anything we run into is going to be stronger than us. So, okay. Formation, normal, tight, loose, very loose. Well, you can imagine as you build these big, massive fleets, you may want a big ring of these escorts way out away from the big carriers or battleship type ships in the middle. And so you would do this loose, right? Or you may want them all bunched together like a tank formation for some purpose, and you would want that tight. But we're going to keep it on normal. I hate when I do that. Let's go back up here to the first fleet, down to tactics. Okay, Normal. Ships retain current role within the fleet. You can give these ships different roles within a fleet. We're not going to get into that yet because, quite frankly, we're not there yet. Enemy strength 50. Retreat win. The enemy strength is 50% or greater. You can do 100%, 200%, never, or just that the enemy strength is greater at all. That's what I'm going to do because I don't want these guys running into fights unless I tell them to, right? There's a level of automation here. We could always switch it over to manual if I do want to pick a fight with somebody stronger than us. But for now, let's just say if it's greater, let's stay a far way away. Why did I have such a hard time saying that? Let's stay away. Okay, it's that simple. So those will be the tactics that we have for that now, and we're starting to build our first fleet. If you look up here, you can see how many ships are in here. Their combat strength, okay? This is ground troop strength, and then what they're set to do, defend. Awesome, okay? Troops, we do have the 9th Defender Brigade that's sitting on our home moon. We'll talk more about this later. I'm not going to do a deep dive on it now. It's got an attack strength of 94. Well, you can see it's got type infantry, attack strength 94, defend 94, and then it's got various, other qualities to it. You could also recruit more. You can do all of that, but we're not going to do that just yet. We're not to the ground phase. You can also see here admirals and generals on your military screen. You can see defensive bases. We don't have any of those yet. We haven't researched what it would take to do that. Monitoring stations, same idea. New monitoring locations, enemy targets. Dangerous location. Oh, that's what I was looking for. That asteroid field with the Bandits Cove. We don't know much about it other than it's the venomous Sun Corsairs are based out there, and so we know it's dangerous. Okay, cool. All right, let's play the game a little bit, see what's going on out in our solar system. We are all of our exploration ships now have warp drives, and so they are going to be flitting here and there. As a matter of fact, I'll go to the exploration screen, and let's just see where each one of them is. Okay, this is down by Marilia 1. This is the Scoundrel. And this one's pretty much, you can see it's all been checked out. So he'll probably jump someplace else. The Solitary Scout, where's that? It's out in this asteroid field. Oh, all the way out here at Marilia 8. That's the one out there. And then we have the Weary Sun, which is in this asteroid field looking at the Crimson, what was that? The Crimson Scourge, the Crimson Scourge, and we've now given orders for something to come out and take a look at this, potentially repair it so we can get the information from it. But let's scoot back. Let's go down to our home planet. Or I did it, home moon. I also, look, on the screen itself, these bases line up with the different kinds of ships that they are. Did I say that already? I can't remember. But if I didn't, that's true. Let's go at 2 times. Let's get off exploration here. We're at Omsasia. You can see the different ships. What's this up to? The miner. He's coming into dock. The Marilia Quest. He's got no cargo right now. I think he's coming back in to retrofit. You can see right there, military ship constructed. So finally, the Sly Verdict is ready. Our first military ship. Good to know. We can go to it if we want and check it out. Look at the old Sly Verdict. Yeah, okay. Well, it's very phallic out here. All right. So now we've got one, and you can see the drones coming here that are completing certain things on it. Um, all of these ships have drones that are flying here and everywhere. You can see them, these little drones going back and forth. See, they're constructing now the mighty Triumph, and it's coming from our home moon here, the drones out to build it. What do we have here? A miner. It's coming into retrofit, so I think we're giving some of these miners their jump technology. You can see up here we're at 51% on armor plating. Oh, I remember one question that came up. Let me pause very quickly. Sorry. Let me pause very quickly. A question came up about construction ships. All right. And let's go out to construction ships. Ship design. We'll get to that. That's a lot of fun. Construction ships right here. Okay. So we talked about exploration and mining. We haven't talked as much about construction, but we will. You can go to your construction ships right here. We only have two. I actually think we need a third one. We'll get to that in just a second. But let's go to the distant whim. And the question came up, can you queue building through these construction ships? Now, in the old game, you could queue up different building projects for them to do. Now, right now, we have automated, right? And if I click on this, it just goes to Crimson Scourge. So this is what we're going to send out to the Crimson Scourge. You can see its orders. Build the Crimson Scourge. Okay. Um, what else do we have? Retrofit. Now it's telling us we could retrofit this. I'm going to click on that because if it does not have warp drive, it must have warp drive. Look at that. I mean, that's a lot of speed. If it keeps slowly moving out here, I could go look at the build of the ship, but I'm not going to yet. But it's telling us we don't have the latest of everything on this ship. Just good to know. Good to know. If it starts moving very slowly out here, we'll put it on retrofit so it goes and gets a warp drive. But anyway, back to the question was, can you queue up building projects? I do not see where you can. Now, granted, I am on automated, and if we go to manual control, I think it's maybe down here building. Um, but I don't see where you can queue them. You could in the old game, and I would be shocked if they got rid of it. So maybe I'm just not seeing it. We'll explore that further as we go along. Oh, he is warping. You can see him warping out here. Look at him go. I like when you get up to it because it looks like they're shaking in space as they're going through their warp drive. I don't know why that cracks me up. We have discovered some things. So show me. What have we discovered out here on an asteroid? We discovered Cuprica. All right. It's a lightweight, shiny red-brown appearance. It's commonly used in beam and torpedo weapons. Okay, good to know. I really want to see what's going. Oh, that's out at Marilia 8. That's where we found that. We'll dismiss that. Okay, and now if you get back to this view, you can see the ship we're on, the distant whim. It'll show you where it's going, and you can see it warp out here. And this all uses really, the numbers that you see. This speed, 4667. I mean, it's mathematically correct. That's how long it would take to get out here, but it tells you exactly where it's warping to, and we have a new admiral. Okay, so we got a couple of messages up here. Construction of a new escort, so we have a new military ship. Let's say show me, and the reason I'm going to do that is I'm going to make sure that this is going to, oh, that's still on the distant whim. I hit show me. Come on, beta game. Okay, we'll go back and look. Well, you know what? I already said I'm going to go look at it. There it is. Okay, that's weird. So the Mighty Triumph, here it is. You can see here it is batched in with First Fleet already. And so the minute we give First Fleet any kind of order or its tactics are triggered, defense, and it's something weaker than us, then we will be, it'll batch together and off they go. Okay, so that's that ship that's starting to build. We'll dismiss that. And now we have a new admiral. Yorpa Idari has appeared at Amsasia. Okay, show me. And here is our guy, Yorpa Idari. Okay, he does not have any skills or traits yet that we know about. Why do these guys have the same name? Are they like brothers or something? Dad and son? Well, let's make our admiral called something different. Yorpa Kirk. Yeah, I'm gonna change his name. How do I bring him up to do that? Oh, I can do it right there. Okay. Yeah, that's like our Captain Kirk. Okay, Yorpa Kirk. He is gonna be our admiral, or at least one of them. All right. So now we have one, and what the heck do we do to him? Do with him? He's currently at Amsasia. You can see we don't know what his skills, traits, or locations are. Well, we do know where his location is, Amsasia, but we don't know his skills or traits. So we really don't know the best way to deploy him. But in some respects, it's not a hard question because we only have one fleet. And so if we look down here, first fleet, or we could put him on the spaceport because the spaceport does have defensive capabilities. They're not great, but it has some. Let's go to First Fleet and transfer to that new location, and he will transfer to the Sly Verdict and be the Admiral of First Fleet. Okay, so on we go. We've got our Admiral. Let's see what other traits we're starting to uncover. We can see that our leader, Osan Thonda, is labor oriented and an isolationist, and this will begin to fill out here. And you can see they can build skill levels. Now, that's not something we've talked about, but from their traits, they get these certain skills, and then they can go up skill levels as time goes on. All right, so that's Osan Thonda, our leader. You can see civilian ship construction speed. He just went up another level, so that's fantastic. He went from plus 7% to plus 8%. So these people do develop, and generally, like I said, on their traits. Yorpa Kirk, our admiral, still doesn't have any traits yet, or none that we know about. Those will uncover over time. Adari, our general, his ground attack strength is plus 2. His troop recovery rate is plus 3. He hasn't started to build up any experience in those. Okay, he's on our home moon, Sasia. Sounds good. Rocky Thonda, the wife of Osan Thonda. No, we don't know that, but it's the same last name, and she is our scientist. Troop research, she's a plus 4. Shields research, plus 2. All research, she's a plus 5 from her trait, which is she's sober. Well, that's good. I didn't want her out here drinking on the science lab. That can be dangerous. So, anyway, we get that from her trait, and that is building up. But now you can see he'll be over at First Fleet, and you can always see where they are. She's on the Marilia Research Station. Okay, and we'll get off that. And what else has happened here? At Marilia 2, we've discovered Incasdia fruit. It grows on small bushes. Okay, who cares? Inside Incasdia fruit provides the following bonuses: plus 4% colony development. And this is one of the ways that your colony develops as they get more and more luxury items. So I guess your people get more sophisticated, right? So this fruit, awesome. Great. Show me. Let's go out to Marilia 2. And so you can see we've got a ship out here, the Weary Sun. If we come out, there's Marilia 2. And we've now discovered that. Now, we don't have a mining station and we don't have any mining ships over here yet. And so, I mean, great, we've discovered it, but you got to go get it too, right? What else is out here? We have found Lucaran fungus. Well, when we get down here, the fungus, people really like this. We're like truffles, plus 6 colony development. Huge deal there. So those are out at Marilia 2. We'll dismiss both of those. Now, if we go over to our colony, Sasia, and you look down here, our development right now is 49%. And that goes into everything. You really want to get this development higher. It's 40% from our population. So as we get bigger, the colony gets bigger, that will grow. And plus 9% from other items, right? What are those other items? Well, those other items, right now anyway, are our ancient Actarian ruins here. But as we start mining more luxury goods, our development will continue to go up. Okay, what did we find here? At Igualis, which is a moon, we'll go out and take a look at it. We found Tidarios, which is this pinkish gas. Um, it is found in trading. It's heavier. Wait a minute. What's it for? Oh, there it is. It's an inert gas used in weapon shielding and reactor components. All right. Where is this moon? Back up. It's all the way out here by Marilia 8. Let's pause really quickly. What did we get here? So there was that one at Iguadalis. We also got a new escort in. What is this? Advisor suggestion. Build a mining station 2 at Sepataha, or whatever that's called. And you can see down here, it's Dokan T and it's Waconium. These are both things we're short on. Well, of course we are. We don't, we haven't ever found this before, but these again are luxury goods. And if we look down there, plus 4 colony development for this Dokan T and +4 development for Waconium +2 colony happiness. So that will add to the colony happiness and our development. So we'll want to get a mining station out there as soon as possible, and that's what our advisors are telling us to do. And so assign that mission. We're telling the game we want a construction ship to go out there and build a mining station. One other thing I wanted to talk about while we were talking about resources, let's go to the Galactopedia. Okay, and so last time we had talked about all the different resources in this game. And if I go to the Galactopedia, this is game concepts. Take that off for a second. You can see the different various categories here. Let's go to resources. And if we click on that, I showed you this last time, but you can see the just massive number of resources, and I'm sure that will only be added to, or different mods will add to it. It's a really, fun part of the game, all of these different resources, and you need, many of these to build your different components and also to add to your development. All right, so here are all these resources, and we'll get deeper and deeper into which ones really matter. I can tell you right off the top, Caslon is the most important one because it's the universal fuel. So Caslon here, click on that. It's the common gas universal reactor fuel. You need this for basically everything. Okay, and luckily we have a big gas giant that we revolve around. That's where you find Caslon. Okay, so those are all the resources, but we had previously talked about that. Now, I said they go into making components. Now, how does this game work when it comes to construction? We haven't yet built our own. Now, we've been building ships, but we haven't done it manually. But how does it work? Well, when you build a ship, you essentially have a template, all right, of how you want those ships built. And what is that based on? Well, automatic, if you have it on automatic, the game does just the templates it has. But if you build your own, how does that work? Well, each ship type has a basic hull. Now, those holes can get much better as you research better holes, but as of right now, we just have the basic ones. So let's just take the basic hull for a scout ship, all right? That has nothing on it when you start building a ship. It's got nothing on it. You just have the basic hull. Then you can start adding components to it. And those components have all sorts of different effects. You can have ones that are pods for your crew. You could have weapons. You could have defensive weapons. You could have habitation things. You could have command centers. All of these different things are called components. And when we look down here at all the different components, so your basic hull for an exploration ship has a maximum number of components you can put on it. It has a maximum weight. And once you get above a certain weight, it slows the ship down. It has all of these different physics that go into it. But look, I just for now wanted you to look at all of the different components that you can put on ships, including an atomic devastator large, okay, assault pod, the basic cargo bay. Those are all the basic stuff here. You can see them. But then you get into, really crazy stuff like down here somewhere, there's a death ray right there. Now, I obviously want to put this on a ship at some point, put the death ray on and go around just blowing up planets. You've got deep survey modules, Eclipse mass driver. I mean, we could go look at all these. We're not going to do it now, certainly, but you can see the sheer number of components. Now, these S's, M's, L's, you get the idea, small, medium, large. Well, your bays on your hulls, you can only put certain sizes of things on them around the ship. Oh, hell, let's just go look. Why not? Why not? Ship designs. Okay. And this is what I was talking about. These are the templates that you have now. Let's look at an escort ship. Well, I don't want to mess anything up. I guess I could copy as new. Why don't we do that? And here you see the ship construction. All right. And you can see all of the components on this ship. And as I go over them, so basic cargo bay, circumference. Well, we can't really see that one. But if we go in here, you can see on the different areas here where you can put components, and over here are the ones that have been selected. So you can see we did, a plasma torpedo, a particle beam, energy collectors. It has a cargo bay, a basic command center. Some of these things you have to have on here, right? Other things are, completely by your choice. We also then have things that we could put on here, and you can see all the different choices that you have here at the design base. Bay type. Oh, you know what? This is actually what's on here. Okay, that's why it wasn't doing it. Sorry. First time through. Um, oh, I don't want to do that. Let's not save. I just replaced that. Whoops. Well, that's fine. We're not going to save this anyway. Um, let's cancel this. Let's come back to it. Let's go escort. Let's copy as new, and you can do your own design. So these are the design, and you can see now out on the ship, as I float over these things, you can see where they'll be located on the ship. Some of these things are internal, so you can't see them. They're in white. But the things that are external here are in yellow and then red. You can see where those are located on the ship. You can see where the blue, those are defense. So we have, engines are yellow, offensive weapons are red, defensive weapons are blue, and then we have a sensor array which is in green. And if we want to put something else in any of these, so see here, we could put something that's got 120 weight. You can see what it is, here. We could put another particle beam. So let's do that right there. Oh, I guess I just did it. So whatever you're selecting on up here, when you click down here, it will put it in here. And so we put a particle beam medium in here. Now, I should have looked over here first. It will tell you any defects or recommendations it has. Total size is greater than the hull allows. Now that's because I put this on here. So let's take it out of there, and you can see I did that by right clicking. You can see that that's now gone. Now it says one recommendation. Our empire has no supply of the following resources. Okay, so these are some of the resources we're going to need to go out and get to build this design. And so it tells you that. Size 350, 375. Now remember, so let me go to particle beam here. So I selected up here. Now let's go put it on the ship. See that size? Right now it's 350. The highest is 375. If I put that on, it's 366 because I put the smaller one on. But let's take that off. Let's put the bigger one on. Oh, is it not going to allow me to do that? Oh, I'm on it. Particle beam. There it is. It is the bigger one. That took us to 382. That's why we got the warning. So let's right click and take that back out, and we're back to the 350 to 375. You can see the whole size, the crew capacity, the build cost, and you can mess around with this, right? I mean, like if we put this this particle beam, we put it on here. Look at the build cost. We hit this, you see the build cost went up, as did the maintenance. And if we right click it, now the maintenance went down from 110 to 109. Maintenance savings 20% just by the build. You can see the attack, defend, speed, maneuvering, and scanners. You can see how much energy it collects, which is very important if you're going to be going a long ways. Excess energy output, you can see how quickly it gets up to speed here, and so on and so forth. Its fuel type is Caslon. It takes that fuel, it turns it into energy. That's what propels it. And the ship needs energy for everything. But you can see the energy usage here for different things, whether it be output, static engines, or weapons. It's just incredible. It's incredible all of the different choices you have. So I wanted to go ahead and show you that this episode because I know a lot of people love that about this game. Now you saw one of our ships out here warping. We should have that ship have warped into the Crimson Scourge, right? So let's get down to it. I think it was around Marilia 3, the asteroids out here. Is that right? Well, I'll tell you what, easy way to do it. These two have no missions. Why is that? Pause. All right. They should have a mission. It could be that they're just waiting to jump, right? or at some point you will run out of things to explore, I guess, in each system. But right now it says they have no mission. Interesting. When we come back next time, we're going to figure out why that is, how we can change that. We'll also go look at the Crimson Scourge and see what we're finding out about it. Maybe we can get some real high tech out of that. I think it was around Marilia too, was it not? I'll go find it. We'll find it. And so, oh, we could go to construction ships because we sent the one out. Build the Crimson Scourge. The Distant Whim. Is he out here? Yep, he's at the Crimson Scourge. We still don't know anything yet. We're quote unquote building it, which means we're going to get all the tech out of it and maybe turn it into our own offensive ship. We can put it in that first fleet and maybe give ourselves a little punch. Anyway, we'll do all of that next time. This has been Strategy Gaming Dojo. Thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully you're enjoying this. I know I certainly am. I'm trying to, play the game a little bit. We'll continue to play it more and more as we go along. We only made it about a year this time, but we talked about a lot of different stuff. And I did want to show you the ship construction because I know people love that. So anyway, till next time, Strategy Gaming Dojo, I'm out.